Good afternoon, everyone. We have the Mardi Gras people and our mayor here to talk today. They're going to tell you about an event that's coming up on the 28th, which is
This
Fourth
Friday.
Friday, right? And it's Fourth Friday also. So we're in the Arts Center again, which is a very nice place. So any of you guys that want to start talking, have at it.
Well, we're having our Mardi Gras event this Friday from 4 to 8 p.m. We're going to have king cake and hurricanes and live music from the Mineral Area Fine Arts Academy. We'll have fun festive things for sale. We've got some giveaways.
We have mask making at the back of Music Art Love, as well as the music there. We have different prizes at Jean Rizover's Eclectic Gallery. Sam, you have a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the after party also at Dr. Hertig's house from 8 to 10, and that's where we're going to have the costume contest. So be sure to dress up, and you might win a great prize there.
It's Mardi Gras on North Main, the 100 block of North Main plus the Hertig House. I think it's going to be a really exciting evening. This is the second year for the event. Last year, the weather was also good. This year, it's supposed to be spectacular. And last year, we had a lot of fun, and I think this year, we're a little more organized, but not enough to take the fun out of it.
We wouldn't be Little Bohemia, right? If we were organized.
And we've got a new addition. We have a lighted parade.
Oh,
Yes, and they're going to be throwing beads out. So everybody get ready, get
Do we
your
get to
spot.
say who the lighted parade is?
Pardon?
Do we get to say who?
Yes.
The St. Genevieve Mardi
Mardi
Gras
Gras
Cruisers
It's spelled
are
with
going
a
to
K.
be lit up and going through town.
Yeah.
And then hanging out on North Main, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah. Little lighted parade. I think that'll be super fun.
And we're also having strolling musicians as well. I think Ernie Kovac is
Oh,
going to
really?
be on his trumpet. And so you never know what's going to happen. There's always surprises.
Tell them about the musicians at your place.
Yes, so the Mineral Area Fine Arts Academy, they played last year, and they're a wonderful band. They do Dixieland and jazz, and it's just a really good time. You can dance if you want, you can sit and relax and have your hurricane, get some beads. It's just a really great time. And then, and food, Cajun food and Creole food at Oliver's. So be sure you get that, and they're gonna have it actually to go. So you can go and stroll with the food. It's gonna be a great time.
And the Sister Cities food truck is also going to be there. It's going to be a real diverse kind of fun evening, I think, with a little something for everybody. And it's low-key enough that I think that people can have a good time and not feel like it's frantic.
Right.
But
they have to flash anybody. You don't need to flash anybody at our Mardi Gras party.
Yeah, it's all ages, so that's the beauty of it.
Yes.
You can bring the kids, everybody's gonna have a good time. It's just all within about 1 block, so you can do the whole thing and you don't have to drive around, so that's the beauty of it too. And with the weather, it's gonna be perfect.
right.
And there'll be no parking in that block during the time that the Mardi Gras celebration is going on. So you don't have to worry about that. But there's plenty of parking in that area, so you don't need to
parking's
be
not a
concerned if
problem.
you want to bring your car down. But it's
And we'll have fire pits.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
next, or
yeah.
the fire pit.
Although-
Courtesy of Sam.
Yay.
And Sam does beautiful metalwork designs on.
I mean, look at her crown.
fire
She
pit.
did her crown. Is that beautiful?
And those are for sale.
Made crowns out of cans.
Oh, that's cute. Oh my gosh.
But I'm hoping to make some out of cardboard too, but I won't have them done before. But I'm gonna go into the crown making business.
That is
Yeah,
cool.
there you
Oh, by the way, we're going to have king cake at the after party, and whoever gets the baby, they get to be the king or the queen for the night.
Nice.
Or maybe the year until next year.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
And so Sam's going to create a crown just for that.
Yes.
It's going to be nice.
You know, it's very appropriate for us to have a Mardi Gras celebration in St. Genevieve because we do have our roots in French culture, and that, of course, is where Mardi Gras started. The American version that we're most familiar with from New Orleans is a little wild and crazy. We won't be that wild and crazy, but we can guarantee that people will have a good time.
Right, absolutely. Everybody loved it last year. I think it just really brought something to the town that we don't normally have. And
In
like
the
you said,
middle
it's-
of the party, in the middle of winter.
Right, and it's just
Inside
perfect.
and out. Who'd have thunk that it would work?
Right, and it's French related, so I mean, it's perfect for St. John. And if you need addresses, you just look for the north 100 block of North Main Street. You could
Between
put in
Washington and Jefferson.
Eclectics, Only Child Originals, Music Art Love, Rust, and you can put in any of those addresses or Oliver's, and you'll find us.
Yeah, the food should be fantastic.
Yes.
They sold out really fast last year.
Yes.
So they said they're gonna make a little more this year, I think.
It's going to be Creole and Cajun, and last year it was excellent. And then, of course, there are smoked meats, I think, at Sister Cities. It's going to be a good evening.
And Brian,
I will be there.
we have to have it there.
With boas on.
I brought my 4-year-old son last year. He had a big time decorating Mass, so we walked around and took in the sights. So it really is fun for all ages. So I would recommend everybody come on down and see what they've got going on because they've worked very hard on it, and it's been fun to watch the event grow just from last year to this year. So.
And the mask making actually is free and is provided by the Felix Valley House. So they do it all for free. You just come in and they have all the supplies. So Cooper had a good time.
He
I
did,
guess.
he did. We got lots of great pictures of him with his mask.
Oh, awesome.
And we have a new business coming in on our street, and they're going to be there, so you'll get to meet them. It's a new place called Birdie's Coffee and Bakery. So they're going to be there to.
Where Rooted was.
Where Rooted.
And be Nick. So she says she's not gonna have food or coffee by then, but she'd love to meet the people, so she was gonna try and be there, right? Yeah, in the shops, you can go see what she's done with the place. She's changing everything.
Is she really?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. How about, are there going to be some opportunities for people to take photographs?
Maybe.
Maybe? You know?
At Masquerade on Main.
So I am really, really hoping that Masquerade on Main is gonna be open and that people can go in there and take pictures, especially if they're in costume. That would be really wonderful. I'm hoping. We'll see.
You know, I think there are people who probably don't know what Masquerade on Main is.
So I have this really cool shop on North Main Street called Masquerade on Main, and I've set up all these scenes in there, like 9 different scenes that you can go in and take pictures. And each of the scenes has all kinds of props and accessories that you can use. Or you can dress in full costume with wigs and boots and jewelry and the whole thing. And you go in there and take all the pictures you want in all the different scenes. And the scenes are kind of immersive. You're in a sparkly forest, and there's a steampunk scene, an old-timey, a pirate ship, a voodoo, Day of the Dead, Halloween-y kind of thing, and the Shady Lady Saloon. And you can dress up in full costume or just use the cowboy hats and swords and shields and have a great time and take a ton of fabulous pictures that'll be happy family friend memories forever. Which will hopefully be open.
And if not by this Friday, make sure you go to it because it's a lot of fun. I bring people in that are in from out of town, and that is just so much fun.
It's a
We
great
have a blast,
time.
Yeah.
Even the people who are reticent in the beginning, as soon as they put on a costume and strike their first pose, you can just watch their inhibitions fall away and go, oh, does it look good like this? Can I use this gun? How does this look?
And speaking of costumes, we did not mention, I don't think, the costume contest.
Only briefly.
Only
Please
briefly.
come in costume.
Yes, and there aren't any rules about that, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but it should be imaginative, I think.
Right.
And there will
Probably
be
Mardi
a
Gras.
very nice prize basket awarded to the winner of the costume contest.
All the businesses contributed things to a prize basket, so you'll get a little bit of everybody.
And that's at 8 o'clock at the Dr. Hertig's house. And also, they had a huge spread of food last year, which was great.
Yeah,
And-
charcuterie to a whole
Oh my
nother
gosh,
level.
it was fantastic. And they also had a
But they're not doing that this year.
Oh, they're not?
No, I'm kidding.
Oops. Check with everybody first. But last year they had a hula hoop contest, which was really
Oh,
fun.
that
I
was
don't
fun.
know
But
if
they had
it's
super lame hula hoops, and I think
Better this
they
year.
were, yeah. So I think they actually got new hula
Good.
hoops
Waited
that are
for-
actual hula hoops, not I don't know.
That's
They
right.
were untwirlable
Oh,
even.
yeah.
for-
One of the
they were
interesting
bad.
things about this event is, we love our block. We call ourselves the Little Bohemian Neighborhood because there isn't anything typical on our block. Everything is just a little different from any place else in town. And there's always something a little strange happening on our block. But I think
Definite
that
characters in our neighborhood.
I think that the kinds of the kind of event we're trying to create for people is one where you can come, you can have a good time, you can decide what you want to do, you can experience something new like doing the pictures or doing a hula hoop. There are people who were born after the hula hoop was invented, who've never even seen one. There are all kinds of things that you can try in a family-friendly, really friendly all the way around neighborhood. And that's how we think of ourselves, as a neighborhood.
Yep, community.
How about art? Who's going to be doing art this year?
Well, I'll be doing art.
You're going to have some
And
great
every
art.
year
and They're going
forever.
to have some art.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and some of it is Mardi Gras themed. One thing about our block is there always is a good variety of things for people to buy and things
Always
for people to
changing.
see and enjoy.
Bunch of crazy artist ladies making what they feel like making at the time. So every time you go into the shops around, there's different stuff.
And I'll do a plug for my own place. So if you don't come on Mardi Gras, or you do come on Mardi Gras, also at Music Art Love, Mr. Brian Kime is also our trivia night host. And so if you come, it's usually on a Wednesday during the month. It's once a month. And it's actually tonight at 6 o'clock. But we also have open mic nights and movie nights, Fourth Friday Art Walk with music.
How do they find out
presentations.
where, when?
MusicArtLove.com or the Music Art Love Facebook page. And also for our event, you can go to the Little Bohemia Facebook page. Is that what this called? Little St. John Little Bohemia, I think, is how you can find us. Or
Let's visit
Or
St. Jim.
This is-
yeah, it's the St. John,
Been
probably
promoting it
have
as well, I
it.
believe.
Hopefully.
But it's from 4 to 8 this Friday, the 28th, and then the after party starts at 8. So that's all you need
At
to
Doc
know.
Herdick's house.
And everyone is welcome.
And
Everyone-
also,
everyone is
if you're from out of town and you want to come in, we have a lot of Airbnbs. And I think several people right here own some, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do they get in touch with you for that?
If you go on Airbnb, you can look and, because Heidi Walker also has one, Sam Conlon has an Airbnb, I have an Airbnb. So you can look and just see which price range works for you.
And it's right on the street. It's where all the action is, so you can stay right there.
Not too late.
And our
So-
quiet little block.
We hope you'll all come, everyone who's watching. And
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, and all we can say otherwise about the evening, I think, is let the good times roll.
Well, Sam, I want you to talk about your crowns. They are so cool.
Aren't they
And
fun?
made out of a tin can.
Yep, that was green beans wrapped
Oh
sauce.
my gosh, those are so neat.
I
Big
Yeah.
fan of green
You must
beans.
try one on.
Yeah.
Iris.
Nah. Oh, those are so neat.
Aren't they fun?
Oh my
I
gosh.
recently discovered chunky glitter and it kind of took over my life for a little while.
That is so cool.
So yeah, I was looking for anything I can throw glitter on. Yup, they are
Well, you are
fun.
definitely creative.
She is.
I love all your.
I mean, even her
tin
signs for Mardi Gras are like hers in jeans.
But one thing I like to say is that the event starts at 4, so come on down. The lighted parade will start when it gets dark, so probably around 6. And it's going to be going downtown through the historic area. And then it's also going to visit a couple of the neighborhoods in town. So that will be fun. And then the after party starts at 8, and that goes till 10 or whenever.
And it's all free.
Yeah.
Or the event is free, so, yeah. Not the food. Oh, and I'll have some fudge there that I made, wine infused fudge.
Oh,
Very good.
fancy.
That was very good.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we got, right?
If you said everything about it.
I think we've said it.
As they always say, well, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else?
We
do
got
have?
we got the fun-filled evening, live music, delicious Cajun and Creole food, costume contest, our street parade. There's mask making and other activities and giveaways from the local businesses, and the after party at 8 p.m. at Dr. Herdig's house.
And that is on the corner, so you can't miss it.
Right. Yep.
Start
You
at
can
the
throw a
bottom.
hula hoop to it.
Right.
Yeah, so
Our place.
basically, North Main Street between Washington and
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
And you really can't miss it because it's.
No, because we'll have fire pits and
Yeah, the fire pits.
candles
Yeah.
leading the way.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever
The
those
fleur de lis
luminaries.
path.
Luminaries. Yeah, the fleur de lis luminary.
Did you sell a fire pit last year?
I sold a few fire pits.
So fire pits might be for sale too.
Mhm.
They're very creative. They're beautiful by Sam.
Sam does,
Thank
I just always have been fascinated by what you come up with.
Thank you.
Out of tin cans. All the little ornaments, you can hang them outside on your deck and just
And your trees.
little candle holders, lamps,
Yeah.
and very creative.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so next, if you guys want to stay and listen, we're gonna have the mayor tell us all about what's going on in St. John.
Okay. So it's just open mic, right?
Whatever
Like-
you want to talk about, that's fine.
Well, let's start with last night's event. So last night, the tourism group unveiled a new brand launch for the city. And I know a number of you were in attendance last night. I think it was a wonderful time. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback just in the short amount of time that since the launch, but I thought it was a really neat event. Our tourism director, Aaron, this has been a process, to say the least. It's, and I'll give Aaron a lot of credit in this scenario. He didn't like the direction that the brand was heading down, and he had a vision in his mind of what he wanted this to look like and how he wanted this to present, and they just weren't finding that. They weren't hitting the mark. So he went back to the drawing board and actually solicited a different company to get some new, fresh ideas, and they did eventually settle on a new brand, a new logo, and I think they knocked it out of the park. I'm not sure what to say. I thought it was wonderful. And the event was wonderful as well. It was great. I thought the group did a really nice job of pulling back the curtain on the process, and I say that a lot to you, if any of you have heard me talk. I love to pull back the curtain on what we're doing behind the scenes to help the city thrive. And I thought that was really neat that the group let you into the process a little bit. You got to see the gentleman's sketch pad of all the different things that when they were touring the city that he had just kind of freehand sketched to try to find inspiration for this new logo. And I thought that kind of completes the circle, right? Whenever you sometimes hear about it in the beginning and then you see the end product, but I do love this. I love that they were able to kind of see what went into getting us from point A. Well, I wouldn't call it point B, I'll call it point Z, right? There was probably a lot in there, but I think they knocked it out of the park. I thought it was a great event. So that was a really nice midweek. I think Joel kind of livened everybody up. We were supposed to have it last week, but the weather didn't cooperate. So kudos to our tourism group. I thought they did an amazing job. And I think you'll start to see that logo everywhere. So be on the lookout for that. And I did discuss a couple of things last night at the event that the city is currently working on. I think most people are aware of a lot of the ongoing projects that we're doing with the passage of Prop S, whether it's, you'll start to see very soon this weather, we're getting a little dose of spring, that you'll start to see some construction crews out making some much needed upgrades to our infrastructure around town, which also, once again, you're talking about a visitor experience. I think we want people when they come into town for Mardi Gras to not blow out their shocks on the way into town and then blow out a tire on the way out of town. But all kidding aside, really, it's I've tried to impress this upon people that every time somebody visits our town, it's an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to create an impression on them. And that happens in a myriad of ways. I mean, if they get to one of you all, obviously that's going to be, I mean, they're going to walk away going, wow, what great people there are in this town. But we want the whole experience to really, to be something that they remember. And I don't want them to remember how bad the roads were, how bad it was just to get here. So the idea being that, hey, this infrastructure, it does need to be upgraded. We do have a lot more people visiting our community. And that's not to say that, you know, all of us that really reside here, it's not as if we're not driving on them every day as well. And I think everybody's commute may be a little bit better here over the next several years. It will take us a couple years to get through some of this, but you will start seeing progress on that very soon. So, you know, look out for that. The subdivision is still in the works. We're still pushing forward there. We hope to probably break some ground late summer, early fall is the idea, with new houses going up in early 2026. So that's exciting. And then, you know, our most recent development is also, I think a lot of you have probably heard that we're trying to recruit Mineral Area College to open up a new a tech facility here, but it would also have classroom space as well that could potentially use for training or continuing education. It could be general studies. We are still in the very early stages of trying to determine what programs they're going to offer, but we've kind of issued a call to action to a lot of our employers, a lot of our business owners in town to say, hey, you all are hiring people. You are out there trying to actively find people to staff your stores, manufacturing facilities, whatever it may be. What do you need? And I think that's the feedback we're looking for. So over the next few months and next several months, as we kind of hope that this project moves along, we're going to be soliciting a lot more feedback. MAC wants to tailor the offerings at that facility to meet the needs of the community. So this is a really unique opportunity to get in on the ground floor of something that you could really it could take whatever shape we want it to take shape right now. We do know we have some core offerings that they want to have available, but other than that, they just want to know what are the needs, what is going to be impactful to employers and to the students. So I would say if anybody ever does ask you, and if you are hiring, but it could also be anything, right? It could be stuff that you may hear. It could be, we're trying to create an environment where our talent stays local, where we're not losing potential employees. We're not losing, I mean, we have a number of businesses that have reached out to us over several years, citing concerns. Hey, we can't find people that live close by to hire. Two, it's hard for us to retain them. So once we train them and we get them going, we lose them for a myriad of reasons. It could be location, it could be where they live, it could be that maybe they have better opportunities somewhere. But we're thinking, hey, if they get in there and they get trained and they continue to be educated within their fields, that's going to open up pathways maybe within that company, but maybe within another company locally. So the idea being, we're having trouble finding employees, we're having trouble retaining them. If we can keep that talent local, it's going to serve everybody. And we really hope, we know people want to live here. We'd like for them to grow up here and stay here. And if we can get them to go to school here, I think that's one other way to complete the circle, right? And I think this could be a really unique opportunity that we haven't seen in a while. So we're very excited about that. And we've been working with the president of Mineral Area College. We've been trying to curry some favor at the House and Senate level to try to get some, it's really dependent on appropriations from the state. So we are actively working behind the scenes to try to get the necessary funding for this project, which is, you learn a lot about, and I mentioned earlier how the sausage is made, and you get into the weeds with some of that stuff, and it is very interesting, but it's also very frustrating at times, right? You feel like you can go down one avenue only to meet a roadblock, but we're continuing to kind of sort through that. But those are kind of the main projects, but I'll just give this group here a whole lot of kudos because this event more or less was born from nothing, right? You didn't have an event that you were piggybacking on.
Linda's Mardi Gras infested head.
And I thought it was wonderful that you thought that, I don't remember who made the point, but it's like, why wasn't there a Mardi Gras celebration here? For such an historic French settlement to not have a Mardi Gras celebration is, well, we need one. And I'm glad that you all stepped up to make that happen. And I think it's so cool, and I hope everybody will come and join. But
while you're on tourism again, can you talk a little bit about the value of tourism to the community? Because I think sometimes local residents think those people are just taking up parking spaces, and they're making it hard for me to go to Oliver's for lunch because they're full. The benefits of tourism to the community, both financially and in terms of it being a source of new residents who come down, enjoy what they've seen here, that kind of thing, and maybe put in a plug for the county, adding that tourism tax out in the county.
Yes, and thank you for that. I'm glad you brought that up. So let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk about first impressions, right? So when somebody comes here to visit, let's say it's a weekend, let's say it's a day trip, whatever it may be, that's a chance to make an impression, right? So, and that impression could mean they go home and tell 5 friends, hey, we need to plan another weekend in St. Genevieve, and we would love for that to happen. But that impression could be they leave and they go home and they go, man, that was cool.
And they have other events in town too. We should go back for Dessert Fête and the French Festival.
And people who come down, particularly older people who come down, who start talking about what a wonderful place this would be to retire because we have a great hospital and we have lots of activities and nice housing.
Yes, I 100% agree. And a lot of these things that we're talking about, right, are all they're related, they're mingled together. When you say move here, we think, where do they live? We think, okay, we need to add rooftops. These are all things that do have some connection with one another. And every opportunity we have to make an impression and maybe they do come home, maybe they do decide they want to move here. Wonderful, we would love for that to happen. And I've talked to several people that is a reality. That has happened on a number of occasions. And I don't think that's an accident. I think they see here and, not to borrow what our tagline from last night, but there's something special here, right? Like that'll ring in your head and you may walk away thinking that, or you may drive away thinking that. Right?
A lot of people come in here and comment, This is great, would be a great place to live.
And not even, not even just older people. I have, I have a number of friends that have visited that absolutely love coming here. They think, they're blown away. And I grew up in a small town just on the other side of the river, very similar in population and size and amenity, all those things. And so I think when, I get somebody, a friend of mine that may come visit from maybe the small town I grew up in, or maybe friends that come down from St. Louis, there is something different, right? There's something a little bit nicer about hustle and bustle's left behind, worries are checked at the county line, right? I mean, you just there's a little bit of a different feel here. And I think that some people crave that. I think we get overloaded with a lot of stimulation and a lot of chaos that life just kind of leaves at our doorstep. And whether it's through our phones or whatever else, life is very chaotic at times. And I don't know, you come here and things seem to slow down a bit.
Calm and chill.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that people talk to me about is the fact that every month there's something going on here. A lot of it is generated by the tourism community, the festivals and events. So moving to a small town, I think, can be a little daunting because there's not even a movie theater.
Sure.
But
Chris
here,
has got one.
we have movie night
At
in
Music
this
Art Lab.
community. We have festivals virtually every month.
Yes.
In the summer, we have band concerts every week. And I think that some of what happens as a result of the tourism community is part of what is attractive to people. There's something to do, there's something different. And it all kind of ties together at some point.
Like Mayberry.
With
an edge. Mayberry with an edge.
But I think when we get down to tourism, right, and I think the idea behind it being, yes, it's an audition for potentially people moving here, it's an audition for future visits, but the impact of tourism in our community, we do not have a robust budget. Most of you probably all realize that by now, and have heard plenty about it. Anything that comes in on the tourism side is such a welcomed addition, because that kind of influx into your budget is just, you can't just uncover that here and there. So by creating a visitor experience that is going to maybe create repeat business from people, I would say visitors, right? Or for them to take home to then bring more people back. That's kind of revenue that really is, you would have to create that in some other fashion through a city mechanism, which is just, it's not feasible. And so creating an environment like this, having all these events, having this kind of culture here, it does create momentum, and things tend to build off of one another like that. If we look at our peers and what they're doing, they're creating an experience, and those dollars, they keep reinvesting back in. You see that money that comes in, that's going to create a bigger tourism budget. That's going to create more opportunities for us to help fund different festivals, for us to push maybe the brand out to a wider audience. But I think what Aaron and his team has done is really take that budget and try to find ways to maximize it. And I think it can happen to anybody, and it can happen to any city. I think you get, I guess, kind of boxed in by what you do, and you are used to marketing and pushing your message out in the same fashion in the same places over and over again. And those mediums are evolving, right? Social media is a thing, right? And that snowball's been rolling down the hill for some time now. So you either just jump in or you get steamrolled by it. And I think what Aaron and his group are doing is a very fresh perspective. I think pulling back the curtain again, right? They're going into the businesses and showcasing what is there. It's not saying, hey, go see this or whatever. No, it's like, it's going in and telling the story. It's getting the footage of the business. It's talking about the history of what they offer and what they do differently. Because there's so many of those stories to tell in this town. And people love those types of stories. They gravitate towards those types of stories. So that message can be broadcast at very little cost to a huge audience. And we hope that returns some money. But I think it's just more or less tourism space. This town has to have that component to it. It is part of what we are. We are the oldest city in Missouri. That story needs to be told. We have this place in history that nobody can take from us. And maybe, I don't know how many people really know that. And we have so many people as well that continue to tell that story, that have kept that alive. And that is so unique, I think, in this day and age. Yes, we're not Williamsburg, right? But we don't want to be Williamsburg. And we don't want to be Herman. But we can take some of the things from Williamsburg and Herman that have worked and have been successful, and we can put them into action here to see.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a hard political question.
Oh
boy. Do we have any idea about what the activity in Washington, D.C. having to do with the National Park Service, what kind of impact that's going to have on our National Park Service unit, because they own a bunch of our most important assets.
Correct.
Including operating the Welcome Center. And staffing apparently is an issue that's being discussed heavily in Washington, D.C. So do we know anything yet?
We don't. I did have a conversation with our city administrator yesterday evening about the topic, just to kind of, we were discussing the national parks just in general, but we more or less, that conversation kind of spread to, hey, do we have any concerns? And there are no concerns to relay right now. I don't think there's anything as far as we know, I don't think you're going to see any reduction in staffing or services as it relates to what the national park's doing. We've heard nothing to make us believe that anything's going to change.
That's very good news.
And I know that there's a lot of consternation out there about what's going on, but I think within that, I think we're going to be okay there. I don't think there's much to worry about. That being said, we don't know for sure. So I wish I could say, hey, 100%, everything's going to be a-okay. But I can't say that right now. It's going to be a wait and see thing. But as of right now, we've heard nothing. We've heard nothing that would make us believe that there's anything to worry about on that front. But while we're talking about it, let's talk about the tax that you mentioned.
Yes.
So as it pertains to tourism, and once again, the rise of Airbnbs, we talked about it, right? That kind of housing, that kind of lodging, that happened quickly, right? That shift, and I know I'm part of that shift. When I travel to a different town, I don't even look at hotels or motels anymore. I would much prefer to stay at an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast. That's just, and I think most people are starting to feel that way, especially if you're traveling with a group. It is nice to have like a house where you can, yes, everybody has their own space, but we do have common areas where we can lounge in the morning, have coffee, or in the evening and wind down. I think it's nice to have a place to congregate, and the Airbnbs really offer that. But what didn't happen, what didn't keep pace with that was, hey, it grew so fast so that a lot of communities were trying to reckon with, okay, our motels and hotels are being taxed, but these are not. So every municipality had to shift pretty quickly on the go to try to figure out, okay, well because fair is fair, right? If a motel and a hotel is going to be taxed like that, an Airbnb the visitor needs to be taxed in the same manner. So it was catching up with that. But as it stands right now in the county, there is no lodging tax. There is no hospitality tax whatsoever in the county. So everybody that comes in and stays, and that's the other thing, right? There are more Airbnbs over the last few years in the county space than, it's probably doubled or tripled.
When I started mine, I think there were 4 Airbnb VRBOs in town, and the last time I looked, which was like a few years ago, there were like 75.
Right.
And so when I first started, I didn't have to pay the lodging tax, but it was Sandra Cabot at the tourism. So she went to some of the businesses and said, hey, you don't have to, but would you mind paying this lodging tax?
Right.
It's like 3%, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, where does the money go? And she said, toward tourism.
Mhm.
I said, oh, absolutely. And so I voluntarily paid the tax. I think now you have to.
You have to.
But we've been paying it in the city this whole time, and the people in the county don't have to pay it at all. So
And
that seems odd.
Out in the county, it isn't just somebody who has a nice extra little house on their property.
Right, it's the big
There's
places.
some
The-
large
The
operations.
$1,000 a night places.
Yes, exactly. And
That's a lot of missed revenue for us.
the tax that this could bring in is hugely important because right now, the county and the city, the county does not have a tourism arm. The city is more or less in some ways responsible, but the county's not in a position at this time to be really funneling dollars. This creates a direct avenue for the county to funnel those dollars into the tourism coffer. Right now, it's just basically the county is offered, they're more or less kicking in some money to us, but it's an amount that's set that it's what comes in every year.
Well,
It
and
was
they're
agreed
under
upon.
pressure in terms of losing some funding at
Sure.
state level at this point,
And-
which means that they have to take any money they give to the tourism effort for this community out of someplace else. If this tax were in place, it would mean that they would have a source of funding tourism, which is business opportunity for the whole county,
Mhm.
not just the city of St. Kennedy.
Yeah, and
Correct.
nothing comes out of the county coffers that way, right?
Correct.
It goes straight from us,
It
the
is a
owners.
pass-through.
Yeah, it's just a boom, there it is.
It's a pass-through, and we are working on this in conjunction with Perryville. In Perryville, we work on a lot of joint tourism items with Perryville. They've been a great help to us, we've been a great help to them. And Perryville is wanting to increase their tourism tax, their hospitality tax, but really what we're trying to do is kind of lift a restriction. Right now, there's a restriction there that says we can't go beyond, or there's a certain amount. What we want to do is open it up so that the counties can pick and choose. They can decide how much that rate is, and it can be adjusted as needed in the future. Right now, you're more or less pigeonholed into one. If you decide on one, that's it. You can't do any more. So what we're trying to do
Without another vote.
without another vote. So what we're trying to do is just open it up. Now, it could open it up to allow us, I don't know the numbers offhand, but let's just say it was at 2%. Let's say we set it at 2%. It might allow us to go to 6 or 8%. We don't have to go to 6 or 8%, but it's there if needed, right? And it allows some flexibility within the local governments to kind of make those decisions.
And most places are 11%.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to say, this is not, we're kind of late to this party.
Yes.
Cities across the country have been doing this for some time, and I'll bring up Nashville because it was very apparent to me when I rented an Airbnb in Nashville several years ago. There's a hefty tax in Nashville on Airbnbs. Nashville brings in a ton of visitors, right? And it's not, they go for a variety of reasons. We're not Nashville, we understand that. But I guess my point is, you can imagine what that scaling looks like for them if they're bringing in that tax and that money is, there's a reason why Nashville has continued to kind of just gain momentum. And even when things seem to maybe turn in one way economically, Nashville presses on. And I think you create that kind of environment when you keep those funding coffers, that mechanism moving. And it allows them to funnel dollars into places that are where it's needed. It allows them to push festivals to another level. It allows them to open up areas that maybe they hadn't thought of before, as far as, hey, do we want to start attracting people to this? Do we want to start attracting people to this? Do we want to try to market? It just allows you to be so much more flexible. You don't have to feel like you're fighting for every dollar. And we all know the same thing about marketing is you can market and fail. It doesn't mean it's a failure. It doesn't mean it's an overall failure. You can try something and it not work out, and you learn from it, you tweak it, you come back and you try it again. We want to give our tourism director and the marketing team the freedom to fail if they want to try something new. So where it's like, hey, if we only had this amount of dollars to spend and we want to try something new, that's always going to be in the back of our mind. What if it doesn't work? And then we've wasted this money and we didn't even have that money to waste.
It's essential
some
to make
chances.
the point with this,
Yeah.
that no resident of the county pays this tax
Absolutely.
unless they go stay at Sam's. at her Airbnb or at Chris's or at someplace out in the
Correct.
county.
Well,
No.
even then, they don't.
They're exempt.
They don't pay it.
No,
Yeah.
I pay it.
Yeah.
You pay it, but
It's not added onto their
It's not?
bill, it's
Okay.
not.
Okay.
And in other places it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
I would think in most
Because all
places,
of them we've ever really.
there's a
There's
tax.
11%
You pay
has
the
been-
tax when you pay your bill. But no resident of the county
Correct.
has to pay that tax. It's all generated by the people who come here as visitors, which is another spur, I think. It's another way in which tourism and tourism being healthy and growing benefits the county, because that money can go into creating more things to see and more things to do and things
Better
that
advertising.
Yes.
Yes, but the things to see and do don't just benefit the tourists. We benefit from them. The water park is a wonderful example. It was built actually for county residents. It's a tourism draw
It
now,
is.
Oh my
but
gosh.
we get to use it. And the fact that we have so many people from out of town who are using it means that the cost for local residents is staying moderate.
Yes. And every other community that our residents travel to and stay the night, if they go to wherever they go, they are paying that tax.
Yes.
They are.
So, and I don't hear, I mean, maybe they complain about it when they're booking it, but why shouldn't we be doing the same thing? To me, it just makes sense. It's kind of the way of the world, and this is not new. This has been something that's been paid for years. I mean, hotels and motels there's always been a tax there. It's just kind of capturing some areas that really weren't planned for. It was a lot of these things kind of I guess the trend or whatever it may be, that can take off so quickly that you don't have time to plan for it. I mean, if you had asked somebody 15 years ago about this idea, well, yeah, I'll have this house and I'll just rent it to people like here and there for a weekend and I'll list it on a website. It may have seemed so abstract to somebody, and now it just seems so common. And in that short amount of time, everybody has to adjust to it. Well, we're all trying to figure it out as we go. So I think you travel anywhere, you're paying it. Why wouldn't the people that come to see us, why wouldn't we want the same? Because once again, we're expected to offer that experience. And part of that is having the money available to do it. And great point as well, festivals like Mardi Gras, yeah, we would love to see the whole region come here, but our local residents can come just the same. And
Please.
same thing with French Heritage, and I mean, you have chocolate
Our
walk. I
locals
mean,
have
oh
no
my goodness.
idea the cool things that happen in this town.
Oh,
There's
I
so much to
don't
do
know.
if you're just if you're looking for it, and
Yeah,
you
I
know,
still get customers 24 years later, locals who come in and say, "What a cute new shop. How long have you been
Oh.
here?"
Yeah, okay.
24 years.
And as I always say.
and that's when you charge them double, right?
Yeah, you don't need to get out far.
Yeah. Every time anybody, and all of you guys too, see anything on Facebook about any event, share it. Not with your friends, go up there and do public. And that goes way away from here.
Nice.
And it can really attract, I mean, that's how people advertise now.
It really is.
They do not do brochures, well, they do a few, but mail out and that kind of stuff, that don't happen anymore.
Old school.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so another question that a lot of people have. Have you got an order with the streets, which streets are going to be repaired?
We do.
You have.
We
now.
do. So we are in the process of finalizing engineering on our first set of streets, but I think very soon you'll see kind of a hierarchy as they go. The only reason we don't have one right now is because several of our streets that were on our list, we did prioritize a list before we even went out to the public with Prop S. Some of those streets need water line replacements.
Right.
And those are on a set schedule, just based on need and availability and where we're at and what we budgeted for. So two separate items, and you kind of got to marry them together. So some streets, if there's a street we know it's bad, and it may go further down the list only because there may be a water line replacement that has to coincide with that street being redone. And I think the further point to make here as well is that these streets, what we're doing is we're not just pouring asphalt over a problem. We are re-engineering the streets to operate in the functionality that they were designed to operate.
Drainage, that,
And if
Tear outs,
anybody's.
tear outs, I'm getting the time signal here.
I gotta change the battery. You can keep going, I just gotta change the battery.
These streets.
Right.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, so we have a list. It's a priority list that we put into place when we were getting ready to go public with Prop S. There's, I believe, 20 different streets. Now that was just our higher priority. There's obviously more, and we're gonna kind of continue to keep backfilling on that list. But what you'll notice is in the priority list is, and I'm gonna kind of backtrack here, but we have some water lines that do need replacement under some of these streets, and those are kind of on a set schedule right now. So depending on when that water line is due for that replacement,
Okay.
so that may determine when that street is going to be redone.
So
And
you don't have a list to put out to the public?
we could absolutely give you a list. We have the list. Now, when they are going to happen, I don't know yet. And we are still in the process of getting the engineering done on these streets, because that was the other thing, right? We're not paving over these. We are
Right.
re-engineering. We're going to tear them out, and we're going to start from scratch. That will increase the longevity of these streets, so we're hopefully not running into these problems.
What'd you say, 50 years with concrete
Yeah, I
and
mean,
25 with asphalt?
and I don't know the exact numbers. I don't have my engineering hat on. Maybe it's in there, but
It's probably in that ground.
But yes, I mean, the idea is that what's happened over time is we've kind of put Band-Aids on these for a while, and it's created more problems. But the other thing that it's done is it's created more stormwater problems, because water is now, as that city level's risen, because it's been overlaid so many times, that water is getting into places it never was designed to be. So our stormwater systems are being overrun. They're not operating at the efficiency, or in some cases, not operating at all the way that they were supposed to. So the idea
those
was
bridges flood every time it rains.
exactly, and the idea being, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we'd like to make sure that, myself, I'd love to be mayor of this town forever, but I know I won't be, and hopefully at some point, when I hand over my, I don't know, I guess this, whenever I hand it to the next mayor, that he or she is. We haven't burdened them with some problems, right? And I'm not saying that anybody did that to us. That's not the point. It's just we were operating with what we could do at that time. We knew we had to do it, but we could only do so much.
Yeah, and the
This is
funds
just
are
going to open
not-
us up.
The funds are not great.
No.
Period. They're not.
Which brings in more tourism dollars, right? So all of these things, they do feed off of one another, but
And a lot of people don't understand that.
correct.
They think, well, the city's got this much money, why are they not fixing our streets? And I've heard people say that.
I
Why
wish.
aren't they fixing that street? It's so bad. Well, you gotta have money to do that.
And I would say too, I know it's easy to get frustrated on our own streets because we drive.
Yeah,
all the
because I
time.
don't like it either.
But I don't blame you.
Home.
And I know.
You're asking.
I tell that story every time I talk about it. There's a pothole on 5th Street when I take my son to school, and I hit it like every time. And I know it's there, but I still hit it. But I mean, I would tell you that a lot of our surrounding cities are reckoning with this right now. This is not unique to us. I was up in St. Louis just the other weekend, and we hit some. There's some pretty rough streets up there as well. So it's not unique just to us. I would say maybe we are all too familiar with it because we drive on them so much. But I think you're going to see we're really excited about this. And my goal for Prop S and how it pertains to the streets portion is we want to have, my goal to the public, going back to our transparency, is I want to have a list. I want you guys to see what we budgeted for that street. I want you to see what was spent. I want you to see how much money is left there available for the remaining streets. We want to track this, and we want to present that data to you
And
guys.
I think people would appreciate that.
I think it's our duty to do that. In my opinion, I think government operates behind closed doors far too often. I'd love to just invite you into every closed session meeting I could, because I think that's where things get lost in translation, is you see public discussion, but then you see it go behind closed doors. And then it comes out and it feels like a decision's been made and you have no idea what happened. But in this case, this is the money of the people. This is what you guys voted for. You wanted to see these improvements. So we're gonna lay it out to you as to how we're doing this. And I wanna basically have a graphic that says, hey, here's the total amount we have available. Here's our streets. Here's what we're budgeting for this street. Here's what it was spent. Here's when it was done. And we can just keep going down that line and make it available to the public so that you have it, that you guys can see the progress that's being made and how the dollars are being spent. Because I think it's your right. I think it's your right to know that. And I think you'll also see that a lot of times we get into these projects and yes, we engineer them and we budget them and we rip the street up and they say, hey, it's going to cost this much. And then next thing you know, there's a problem and we're constantly reckoning with that. If you watch any of our alderman meetings, you'll see that we do have a lot of change orders. It's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. So you can see how difficult it can become whenever you're planning and planning and planning, and then you are met with unexpected problems. But the idea being, I want you all to know how those dollars are being spent. Okay. I think that's very important.
And another question is the housing that you're building. Is it going to be 3 types, like single, family?
It will be all single family.
Oh,
so it's going to be all single family, standalone homes.
And the price range, is there going to be different price ranges?
Yes, you'll have multiple price ranges, but really what we're trying to offer at the entry level a home that's around 1,100 square feet that would start under $200,000. And it would have a full basement. Basement would be unfinished, but it would have a full basement, would have all the amenities, would have a garage. I mean, you're going to get a beautiful single family home, and we're hoping that we can start that price under $200,000, because that's been the goal from the start, is that the need isn't just rooftops, it's the affordability of them, and varying ranges. I mean, you could start as low, I think our original numbers were talking about 189.9 up to probably in the 400,000s at that level, if depending on what you're looking for. But the idea is to meet a wide variety of housing needs.
And are the people going to buy the lots and then pick their housing design, or is it going to be pre-built houses and
Good question. So the way that this would work is that you could schedule a meeting with McBride, and you could then select your floor plan, select whatever options, upgrades, anything you want. You pick your lot. They're going to build you that home, and you just have to pay for it when it's done.
How many lots would
And then
157.
Is there any planning for the future for additional housing for older adults?
Sure. We are working on a couple of different projects with that. I don't have a ton that I can share with you because I don't have specifics on them just yet, but I've had a number of conversations with local contractors. We're trying to work out some options there. We are hoping that maybe some of the smaller homes that McBride offers would be desirable to somebody that maybe wants to downsize into something that's, if you got too much house, maybe something a little bit simpler. We do know, the other thing I think that could really happen with this is you could see how this housing, that could build momentum as well. And you could maybe potentially see, we've had developers in the past that have, I think about the Butterfield property that is right behind Bloomsdale Bank and Shoe and Sons, which kind of, those are more of like an apartment condo kind of setup, yes. But the waiting list is forever long for those. And we sorely need more of that. And we've had some developers that have been sniffing around the area that have been looking to do a project like that. We just haven't found the right, the timing was, we were very close several years ago. COVID threw a wrench into everything, and then we were close not long after that, and there was a grant that was needed for it that just wasn't awarded. So we're hoping that maybe with some of this, it kind of spurs that activity a little bit. You start to see, hey, there's a developer building 157 homes, and if they start to see those go up and sold, it's going to create when you build these homes, you are going to create a need elsewhere. But you're going to create activity within the market, which any developer is wanting to see. That they're keeping an eye on these things. Where are things happening? Oh, that's interesting. And we haven't had a developer look at that. I don't think recently, but like, oh well, there's a lot of people moving to St. John, or they're building a lot of houses. We just haven't had that. I mean, the last major development was Valley Springs. And it's still not all the way built out, it's close. But that happened over a 30-year time frame. So this will be a big deal. But yeah, they'll just be able to pick their home, they'll pick their lot, and McBride's gonna build that house. They'll be tracking, their changes can be made. I mean, it would just be like if you were working with a builder, except in this case, you don't have to go out and obtain the property first. So you wouldn't have to get a loan to buy a property or pay cash to buy this property. And then you won't have to find a private builder and go through that process, maybe obtain a construction loan and go through all that. This is just basically a one closed deal. So where you're gonna enter into the agreement with them, they're gonna build your house. And then when you're done, you could get a loan or pay for that. They're gonna hand you the keys and you're out.
And of course,
there.
McBride will be taking care of installing all the infrastructure, having to do like water lines and.
So the city is going to be, McBride is going to oversee that work, but the city is going to inject money into that. The reason the city is doing that is for the affordability piece.
Okay.
In any other circumstance, that would cost the developer about $25,000 to $35,000 per lot just to do all of those upgrades. And that cost, we don't want that cost to be a burden of the buyer. We would rather see that savings passed down through to the consumer.
That's good.
Yes, I think it'll be extremely helpful, and especially now. I think a lot of people's belts are a little bit tighter, right? I think the economy has hit people pretty hard over the last several years. Everything's more expensive, so if we can offer some savings at the housing level, oh my gosh, it'd be so great.
So there's not gonna be any duplex then?
No duplexes at this site. At least that's not the plan right now. I mean,
Because those would be nice, like that one they built up on the highway
I
there.
agree.
That's really cool.
Yes, I love
That's
it.
beautiful.
We have such a need for that type of housing, and some of that is what I mentioned. We do have some. I've talked with a number of interested individuals that are looking for some areas within the city as well that they're looking to potentially put some of that duplex, villa. You can call it anything with townhome. We can call it anything we want to, really. But really, what it is that it's a home, but it would be yard, exterior. That would be maintained by somebody else. It wouldn't be the burden of the homeowner. So it really low maintenance for the buyer. And I think that's kind of what you're thinking in some ways. Yeah. We don't have enough of that. Nowhere near enough of that.
Okay, so anybody else got any questions for?
Mardi Gras, Friday night, 4 to 8.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, trivia
Okay,
tonight.
let's recap on the Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras, Friday night, 4 to 8. Live music, drinks, dancing in the street, costume contest with prizes,
Some giveaways.
after party at Dr. Hurdick's house, Cajun food
Parade.
parade of lights,
Mask
Giveaways and
mask
it's going to be a lot of fun.
a lot of fun for young
it's
and
gonna
old.
take
Please
place-
come.
It's going to take place in the general area between Jefferson and Washington on North Main.
Between
Okay,
the-
and in addition to Mardi Gras, it's Fourth Friday, so there's gonna be several other art
No.
places open?
No.
Oh, they're
Doesn't
not?
start
No.
We're not gonna be open?
Fourth Friday
It starts
doesn't
in March.
Fourth
Starts in
Friday
March.
doesn't start again until March.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I thought.
We don't have any fourth Fridays. We just go from
Oh,
third, so
okay.
next month. Yeah.
Yeah. Not till March.
That's great.
It is, it's just us this time. We don't have
Just you.
we don't have to share with
So
the,
you can come.
You don't have to
to
share with
yeah,
those
you
other
get to
people.
come.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to come down.
Yeah, all the people from up here can come down.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I thought it started in February. It used to, didn't it?
This spring
It
weather's
probably
got it.
Yeah, not in a while.
Not in a while.
And be sure to come to trivia night tonight with Mayor Brian
Up
Kine.
tonight.
at
Yeah,
the
test your
Star Club
knowledge.
At 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
So
thank you,
want
Iris,
to tell the audience how you started doing that? That would be
Well,
interesting
Chris,
for them.
I don't know. I don't know. I used to play trivia with a group of friends when I lived in St. Charles. We played every week, and it was it was just kind of one of the things we did. Funny enough, it was on Wednesdays every week. So that was like it was great because it broke up the week. It was really great to have something to look forward to on a Wednesday evening when you go with your friends and give your brain a little workout, maybe have a drink or two and have some laughs. And really that's what it's designed. I know we've all been to charity trivia nights and those are great, but they're usually lengthy and they, drag on for 3 or 4 hours. This is a little different.
How long is it?
Our goal is to get you in and out of there in an hour and a half.
And it's
Snappy.
and do you bring food?
You can bring your own
Can we just
food.
come
Chris
sit and watch?
Chris has drinks.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, he does a fantastic job. I wasn't sure how it was. I've only gone to one trivia night, and it was kind of like what you said. It's kind of long, and I thought, well, maybe you need help counting the votes or the answers, and he's just spot on. He makes it very enjoyable.
And what's
It's
the
just
topic?
amazing.
Anything and everything could wind up as a question.
But he has like
Different
a dual
every
thing going on at once. So there's a music trivia going as well as the general questions going on. So, and then it could be anybody's game at the end because
Yep.
how much they wager. So, and if you don't have a team,
I
you
like
can join a
Spotify.
team when you come. So
Yeah.
it's really low pressure. It's a lot of fun.
The goal is just for fun. It's to give your brain a little workout, share a few laughs, have some fun on a Wednesday night. It's quick, it's snappy, but there's always something going on. There's not a lot of downtime. We ask you a question, we play you a song. Hey, you need to answer your question, but you got to pay attention to the song too because you have to tell me the name of the song and the artist. And then I weave a theme throughout those entire songs that you have to identify for bonus points. So it's kind of like, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, it's like a pub trivia. When my wife and I moved here in 2017, there was really nothing of that ilk. We never did find anything around. And I talked with Bricks previously about potentially doing one, but we just never got it off the ground and running. And then I was in Chris's shop one day, we were just kind of talking, and
She's
we
like,
just sit there.
"Okay."
Well, I don't know. We got on the topic, and I said, I'd be willing to try to do that if you want to. And then finally, she's like, I think we should try it. I said, okay.
So do you have the same people that come
Great.
back every week?
We have a lot of repeat visitors, but we're getting new people all the time. And it really, if you show up on your own without a team, you will have a team. We can find you a team. We've had separate couples show up. Like I think Heidi and Chris, they showed up, and then actually my parents showed up, and so they were just going to be teams of 2. Well, then they just kind of like were talking like, oh, we'll be the team.
Okay.
So it's really fun. I mean, the idea is that not to frustrate anybody. It's just to have a little fun and break up your week a little bit.
Okay.
And there's prizes. So
That
not
prizes.
only is there a
What kind of
chance
prizes?
to win the cash
Cash
prize, but there's also raffle prizes.
Oh,
throughout the
you should
night.
have led with cash prizes. Yeah, and raffle
So,
prizes.
yeah, so it's a lot of
It's
fun.
not just
and,
fun.
All right, I'm sold.
There you go.
Yeah, we're
That is in.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And we sure hope this is a big success, bigger than last year.
Yep.
And it was great last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
it was.
Thanks, Iris.
Thank you, Iris.
And thank you also for,
Everything we're going
because some of
by.
the people
There's
are.